Today we are going to dive into a powerful truth about relationships, attraction, and the art of balance. The world has taught us many things about love, but there is one secret that very few people understand. A secret that can completely transform your relationships, your personal life, and even how you perceive your own worth. It's a truth that holds the power to make you more magnetic, more desirable, and ultimately more fulfilled. And that truth is simple. Men can't resist women who detach. Before you jump to conclusions, let me clarify. I am not talking about detaching in a cold, indifferent, or distant way. I'm talking about a woman who understands the power of self-worth, who knows how to hold her own, who has learned the art of maintaining her independence while still being loving and nurturing. So let's take a journey into why this principle works and how you can apply it to create not just better relationships, but a deeper sense of personal fulfillment. Independence is the cornerstone of true attraction. It is the energy that radiates from within, a quiet strength that doesn't seek external validation. A woman who is independent is like a beacon that draws people to her, not because she is constantly trying to be noticed, but because she is grounded in her own sense of worth. And when you're independent, you don't need anyone else to feel complete. You are complete in yourself. Many women, out of love or fear of loneliness, fall into the trap of defining their entire existence through their relationships. They place all their emotional eggs in one basket, expecting their partner to fulfill all their needs, mentally, emotionally, and physically. In doing so, they lose sight of who they are outside of the relationship. They become absorbed in their partner's life, desires, and needs, often at the expense of their own. This can be suffocating for both parties. The partner begins to feel burdened, and the woman in turn starts to feel trapped in a cycle of dependency, constantly seeking approval, attention, and validation. This cycle erodes self-worth and erodes attraction. On the other hand, when a woman stands strong in her own identity, she sends a message to the world and to the men she encounters that she is already whole. Her happiness, peace, and success are not tied to anyone's opinion of her, but are based on her own values, her passions, and her accomplishments. The power of this independence is magnetic. A woman who knows what she wants and is not afraid to pursue it, who has her own goals, ambitions, and dreams, naturally attracts the kind of attention that comes from respect rather than neediness. Take the example of a woman like Serena Williams. She's one of the greatest athletes in history, yet she never relied on her relationships or fame to define her. Her focus on her career, her vision, and her own personal growth has made her a force to be reckoned with. And in that pursuit, she draws in admiration, not just from her peers, but from the men around her. Men admire a woman who is independent because they know that her attention, time, and energy are valuable. And when she chooses to share those precious resources with them, it feels like a gift, not an obligation. Men find themselves desiring a woman who, like Serena, has a life outside of them. A woman who doesn't bend to the pressures of what society expects her to be, but instead defines her own path. When you live as your fullest, most authentic self, you become a living example of what true self-love looks like. This is the kind of energy that draws others toward you. People want to be around those who are sure of themselves, who don't need anyone to complete them. And yes, men can't resist that energy. Why? Because it is rare. It's easy to get caught up in the drama, the emotional roller coasters, and the dependency that some relationships may breed. But men respect, admire, and ultimately fall in love with a woman who has learned to stand on her own 2 feet, knowing that if the relationship doesn't work out, she will be just fine. She doesn't need to be rescued. She's not afraid of being on her own. Think about it. When a man knows that his partner is independent, that she doesn't depend on him for her happiness, her self-worth, or her joy, it frees him to be his best self as well. He doesn't feel the burden of having to complete her or manage her emotions. Instead, he sees her as a partner, someone who enhances his life, someone with whom he can grow and build something meaningful together. Detachment does not mean ignoring your partner or being emotionally unavailable. Detachment in its purest form is about maintaining emotional boundaries, knowing where you end and your partner begins. It is about standing firm in who you are and what you need without being swept away by every emotional shift in the relationship. Women who understand detachment know that they are responsible for their own feelings, and they don't rely on their partner to regulate their emotions or sense of self. Imagine a woman who is emotionally detached, not in the sense that she is cold or distant, but in the sense that she is grounded and centered. She doesn't let every little argument, misunderstanding, or emotional upheaval dictate how she feels or reacts. She doesn't chase after her partner to resolve her own insecurities or fears. Instead, she addresses those things within herself first, understanding that her worth is not tied to how well her partner performs in the relationship. Emotional detachment allows you to keep your power. It keeps you from getting lost in the emotional highs and lows that can come with being too emotionally invested in another person. The beauty of emotional detachment is that it makes a woman more in control of her reactions. She doesn't become swept up in drama, and she doesn't fall into the trap of emotional manipulation. This makes her both strong and attractive, because a man never feels like he's walking on eggshells around her. There is no overwhelming pressure to always meet her emotional needs. True detachment means that you don't lose yourself when things aren't perfect. You don't become someone you're not to please your partner, and you certainly don't give away your peace for the sake of keeping the relationship alive. A woman who is emotionally detached doesn't live for her partner's approval. She has her own sense of self, and she doesn't allow her emotions to become tangled in the complexities of her relationship. When things go wrong, she doesn't fall apart. Instead, she takes time to assess, reflect, and work through her feelings without relying on her partner to fix things for her. This kind of emotional strength is compelling. Let's consider a woman like Maya Angelou, for instance. Throughout her life, she was faced with struggles, rejection, and heartache. Yet, she never allowed any of these external circumstances to define her. She always maintained a sense of detachment, not in the sense that she didn't care, but in the sense that she could remain strong, centered, and self-assured no matter what was happening around her. Men admired her not just for her intellect, beauty, or kindness, but for her emotional strength. She knew where her boundaries were, and she didn't allow anyone to cross them. The power of detachment is that it empowers you. It gives you the emotional space you need to thrive without being dependent on anyone else for your sense of security or happiness. It keeps the relationship in balance as both partners have the freedom to be themselves while still being committed to one another. This emotional independence allows the relationship to flourish because it isn't built on the shaky ground of emotional neediness. Instead, it's built on respect, understanding, and mutual support. When you are able to detach emotionally, you stop seeking approval or validation from your partner. You begin to make decisions based on what's best for you, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And as you do this, your partner can see the strength in you. They don't feel pressure to fix you or solve all your emotional problems. Instead, they begin to view you as someone who is whole, someone they want to cherish, protect, and grow with. Detachment allows your partner to appreciate your strength, your resilience, and your ability to stand firm in your own power. Space is the unsung hero of attraction. It may sound counterintuitive at first, but the more you allow for emotional space in a relationship, the more desire you create. Space doesn't mean distance. It doesn't mean withdrawing or creating emotional barriers between you and your partner. Instead, it means creating an environment where both people have room to grow, breathe, and continue evolving as individuals. while still sharing a deep connection. Many women, in their desire to keep their relationships intact, often fall into the trap of over-investing emotionally, physically, and mentally in their partners. They want to be available at all times, to be the one who provides comfort, answers, and support for every need. This can lead to emotional suffocation. When everything revolves around the relationship itself can lose its spark. Space creates a natural ebb and flow between partners. When a woman gives herself the freedom to pursue her passions, to take time for herself, or to invest in her friendships and personal interests, she allows the relationship to have breathing room. This isn't to say that she neglects her partner, but rather that she doesn't make her entire world revolve around him. The energy she gives to herself is the energy that she will bring back into the relationship. This balance between togetherness and independence makes both parties feel more fulfilled. Think about the attraction between two people who have their own worlds and who come together not out of need, but out of desire. When a woman has space in her life for herself, she invites her partner to miss her, to appreciate her more. A woman who is always available, always present, and always on call can often create an environment where her partner becomes complacent. There is no mystery, no excitement, and eventually no desire. However, when a woman knows how to detach and create space, she keeps that spark alive. A powerful example of this is seen in many long-lasting, successful relationships. Couples who thrive emotionally are often those who understand the importance of space. Think about couples like Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. While they are a renowned power couple, they have often spoken about the importance of maintaining their individual careers and passions. Both have successful music careers, and while they support one another deeply, they understand that space is necessary for both of them to keep growing as individuals. They don't smother each other. Instead, they allow for healthy distance, which only deepens their bond. By creating space, a woman does more than simply avoid being too available. She also shows that she has a life outside the relationship, which is incredibly attractive. A man doesn't want to feel like he is the center of his partner's universe, because that can become overwhelming and ultimately unattractive. The more space you create in your relationship, the more you allow for the kind of emotional longing and desire that can't be manufactured by constant presence. It allows the relationship to develop naturally and without the pressure of dependency. In practical terms, creating space might look like dedicating time to your personal hobbies, going on trips with friends, or setting aside time for self-care. When you take care of yourself and fill your own cup, you come back to your partner with more energy, enthusiasm, and appreciation. It's a cycle that benefits both parties and fuels the relationship with deeper respect and understanding. Men find this kind of space compelling because it speaks to a woman's strength and emotional maturity. When a woman knows that she can stand on her own, when she's not relying on her partner to fill the voids in her life, it creates a dynamic where both people can thrive individually and as a couple. Space fosters freedom within the relationship, allowing each partner to bring their best selves forward and to grow in ways they may not have been able to do if they were constantly together, always needing each other to feel complete. True confidence is the most magnetic force a woman can possess. It is the confidence that doesn't need to be validated by anyone else. It is an inner knowing that you are enough, regardless of external circumstances. When a woman is confident in herself, she does not need to depend on her partner, her friends, or society's approval to feel valuable. Her value is inherent, and that confidence radiates outward, drawing people to her naturally. Confidence is not arrogance or a mask we put on to impress others. It is a quiet strength that comes from being secure in who you are, in what you offer to the world, and in your ability to handle challenges that come your way. When you are truly confident, You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room or demand attention from others. Instead, you attract attention by simply being yourself, secure, poised, and unapologetically real. A woman who is confident in her own worth has the power to captivate anyone she meets. Her energy is like a magnet because it is authentic, not a performance. She doesn't seek out validation because she has already given that to herself. This kind of confidence comes from deep self-acceptance. It comes from understanding that you are complete without needing anyone else to define you or give you your sense of purpose. Men and people in general can feel that kind of energy, and they are naturally drawn to it. One of the greatest examples of this kind of confidence is Oprah Winfrey. Despite facing immense personal and professional challenges, Oprah never let anyone else's perception of her define who she was. She built an empire by staying true to herself and being confident in her unique voice. Her confidence wasn't about being better than anyone else, but about being authentically herself. People were drawn to her not because she was perfect, but because she radiated an unshakable belief in her own worth. Men in particular are drawn to this kind of self-assuredness because it takes pressure off the relationship. When a woman is confident in her own worth, her partner can relax. He doesn't feel the constant need to validate her or lift her up. Instead, he is inspired by her strength, and that inspires him to rise to the occasion as well. When you have true confidence, you stop seeking approval from your partner. You stop trying to prove your value. You are enough, just as you are. And this is incredibly powerful. A woman who is confident in herself knows that she doesn't need to chase after anyone's affection. She knows that if the right person comes along, he will be drawn to her because she offers something authentic, something real. Confidence also means knowing your worth in the context of your relationship. You don't allow yourself to be treated poorly or to tolerate disrespect. When you are confident in yourself, you can stand firm in your boundaries, and that demands respect from others. Men will always respect a woman who values herself enough to set clear, healthy boundaries. Confidence doesn't mean never making mistakes, but it means knowing how to own them, learn from them, and continue moving forward without losing your sense of self. A confident woman becomes a mirror for her partner. When a man sees that you are secure in who you are, he too is encouraged to become the best version of himself. True confidence in a relationship is a shared energy where both partners stand strong individually but come together to build something greater than they could have alone. The confidence you cultivate in yourself becomes the foundation for a relationship built on mutual respect, trust, and admiration. One of the most profound laws in life, and certainly in relationships, is the law of attraction. What you detach from, you attract. This might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, society has conditioned us to believe that in order to have what we want, we must relentlessly chase after it. But the true secret to attracting love, respect, and admiration is not found in pursuit, but in release. The more you detach from neediness, the more you allow what is meant for you to come into your life. When a woman is emotionally attached to the idea of a relationship, it becomes less about her authentic self and more about her desire for validation, approval, and fulfillment from someone else. This attachment often stems from insecurity or fear of being alone. But when you detach from this need for external validation, you are sending a powerful message to the universe and to the people around you that you do not need anyone to complete you. You are already whole. This shift in mindset is what makes you irresistible. Think of the way energy flows in the universe. When you are constantly chasing something, you push it away. The pursuit creates resistance. You might think that chasing after love will bring it closer, but in reality, it creates the opposite effect. The more you focus on the lack or the absence of something, the more you reinforce that absence. But when you stop chasing, when you let go of the need to possess, control, or force something to happen, you open the space for it to come to you naturally. You create the conditions for it to manifest effortlessly. A perfect example of this can be seen in the concept of self-love. When you are not seeking love from others because you have already cultivated it within yourself, you begin to radiate a sense of contentment and fulfillment. This is incredibly magnetic. Men, like anyone else, are naturally drawn to someone who is comfortable in their own skin, someone who is not desperate for attention, approval, or affection. When a woman is secure in herself and her life, she stops chasing affection and simply becomes someone who is deserving of it. This is the essence of true attraction. Let's take the example of a woman who has recently ended a relationship. Rather than obsessing over why it ended or desperately trying to rekindle what was lost, she chooses to focus on her own growth. She invests her energy in pursuing her passions, improving her skills, and healing emotionally. As she works on herself, she becomes more self-awareness, more grounded, and more confident in who she is. The more she detaches from the past relationship, the more she attracts new energy into her life, new opportunities, new friends, and in time, a new love that is aligned with her growth and her future. This isn't just theoretical, it's a principle that is grounded in real-life experiences. Think of the stories of women who, after letting go of the obsession with finding the one, end up meeting someone who is a perfect match for them. Someone who respects their independence, supports their dreams, and is genuinely attracted to them, not because they were chasing after him, but because they were fully living their own lives. The key to this transformation lies in letting go. It's the paradox of relationships. The more you detach from the need to make something happen, the more likely it is to fall into place. A major aspect of this principle is detaching from the need for constant external affirmation. Women often feel the pressure to look a certain way, behave a certain way, or fulfill certain roles in order to be loved. Society places an immense weight on these external markers of value. But when a woman detaches from this societal pressure, she is free to just be. She no longer needs to mold herself into someone she's not in order to be accepted or adored. She understands that love, respect, and connection cannot be forced. They can only come when she is authentic, when she is true to herself, when she is not chasing or clinging, but simply living her life fully. Consider the story of the famous actress, Julia Roberts, known not only for her remarkable talent, but also for her down-to-earth personality. In interviews, she has often spoken about how her happiness does not come from her career or her relationships, but from her ability to maintain a sense of independence and self-love. She didn't chase after love or desperately cling to any romantic partner. Instead, she allowed relationships to develop naturally when the right person came along. And when she met her husband, Danny Moder, the relationship flourished because neither of them was desperately seeking validation or approval from the other. They were both complete individuals who came together to share their lives, not to complete each other. This principle also applies to emotional attachment in the relationship itself. When you stop clinging to a partner out of fear of losing them, you allow them the freedom to choose you. No one wants to feel trapped or suffocated, even in the most loving relationships. Men in particular value the freedom to express themselves, to explore their own individuality, and to pursue their goals without feeling like they are constantly under scrutiny. When you detach from the need to monitor, control, or hold on to your partner, you allow him the space to miss you, to appreciate you, and to come back to you willingly. The less you push, the more he pulls toward you. A woman who has learned the power of detachment knows that her relationship is not the sum total of her existence. She knows that a man's love for her cannot be earned by force. nor can it be secured by pressure. She understands that attachment, when excessive, creates fear and tension. But when there's balance, when both partners are allowed to breathe, to grow, to exist as separate yet united individuals, attraction naturally thrives. Detachment also allows a woman to focus on her own goals and dreams without the constant need to please others. This shift is transformative not only in love, but in every aspect of life. The more she releases the need for validation, the more she attracts people, opportunities, and circumstances that align with her purpose. She becomes a magnet for the life she truly deserves, one that is built on authenticity, confidence, and mutual respect, not on dependence, insecurity, or the constant need for approval. The law of attraction is simple. When you stop chasing after something, you create the space for it to come to you naturally. When you detach from the need to control, to force, or to cling to a relationship or a person, you allow the universe to bring the right things to you at the right time. This isn't about giving up or resigning yourself to passivity. It's about finding peace within yourself and trusting that the right people and the right love will come to you when you are truly ready. When you are living as your most authentic self, free from the need to prove anything to anyone. This is the secret to lasting, fulfilling relationships. In the end, the power of detachment in relationships is not about withdrawal, indifference, or neglecting the people we love. It's about recognizing that true attraction and lasting connection are built on the strength of our own independence, the confidence in our own value, and the freedom we give to ourselves and others to be whole. Detaching from neediness doesn't make you distant or cold. It makes you magnetic. It allows you to fully inhabit your own life, to stand firm in who you are, and to offer the best version of yourself in a relationship. When you stop chasing after love, affection, or validation, you create the space for those things to come to you naturally in ways that are more meaningful and fulfilling. Men are drawn to women who are confident, who live with purpose, who are emotionally independent, and who respect their own boundaries. This is the energy that makes them want to be part of your world, not because they feel obligated, but because they are inspired by your strength and your authenticity. So if you want to attract love, respect, and admiration, focus not on what you can do to gain it, but on what you can let go of. Let go of neediness, of insecurity, of the fear of being alone or of not being enough. In doing so, you create space to become the person who naturally commands respect and who inspires admiration without ever having to chase after it. When you live as your authentic, independent, confident self, you will see that what you detach from is exactly what you begin to attract, and in the most profound and lasting ways.